So we're trying to capture what living in LA, Los Angeles County, Inglewood, Hawthorne, Lenox. You know what I'm saying? Like what is that? What does that feel like? Like we know that rap songs have detailed it, you know what I'm saying, whether it's NWA or others that dealt with like police contact. You know, we heard them described as like the biggest gang in LA or the most organized at least. I mean, we hear these things about the county prison or jail being damn near, you know, as violent, if not more violent than the penitentiary.
Right.
We hear that gang banging runs LA, like all of this. So we just trying to clear this up with some details, man. Have you ever had contact with the police that landed you in prison or jail or in the courts, or what's your experience with that?
Yeah, I think the biggest and the one major experience that I had with doing a little bit of time in the Los Angeles County Jail was around 1996. And I remember it all so well because it was like a movie to me. After it was done, it was just like everything people described, but a lot more. It was definitely race driven in there, and I saw how the divide and how the deputies like keep the bullshit going amongst the inmates. It's just like totally disgusting, but it's just like, damn, they got something figured out how to have the inmates police themselves, you know? So I went to a Crenshaw and Dominguez Hills basketball game at UCLA. It was Martin Luther King weekend. And I got pulled over. I remember it on Budlong and Imperial. The sheriffs pulled me over and asked to see, you know, license, registration, and everything. And I gave them everything. And they're just like, oh, wait a minute. I'm like, oh, shit, like, what's going on? And they were like, you know, you're aware that you have some traffic warrants? And I was like, nah. And they're like, yeah, you got quite a bit. And I was just like thinking like, damn, what could it be? And come to find out I had damn near like 100,000 in traffic fines and warrants because I skipped out on the same judge twice. So he inflated the price. So he'll make sure that I come back to his courtroom. So they told me I had warrants, took me out of the car, searched the car, impounded the car, took me to the substation on 108th and Main, which is, you know, it's not Inglewood. So it was already challenging with that being, you know, a white dude from Inglewood. I had a fucking Crenshaw basketball hoodie on. I'm like, oh man, like here we go. Like I'm thinking of all the scenarios, like from gangs to race to everything. And so this was probably like at 11 o'clock at night. So they arrested me. They took me to 108th and Main. Then they were contacting the Inglewood jail for someone to come get me because that's where I had the warrants were out of Inglewood. And it was kind of funny because I used to work for the city, and the officer that they called to come get me, he knew my name because my name is not, you know, there's not that many with the same last name as me. And he also knew my mother as well. And he was like, you know, can't you guys just let this dude go on a citation and he'll go to court? And they're like, nah, he's got like $100,000 in warrants. And he was like, damn. So
that is a lot of money, man.
No, it was a lot, dude. It was ridiculous. I'm laughing at it now, but I just was to myself like, damn, what have I got myself into, you know? And then, so the officer comes and picks me up. It's actually the officer that was an actor on TV. It was a heavyset,
oh yeah, I remember that dude.
Heavyset black dude. I can't remember his name though. And he came and picked me up. He like, damn man, what are you doing? Like,
I think he was in Trading Places.
Yeah, he was in a few things, and he was on Martin and a couple other things.
He always seemed to play like an inmate too. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, yeah. So he came and picked me up. We went to Inglewood Court. So I got to Inglewood probably like at around 2:30 in the morning. Dark cell, you can't see nothing. It's just like a holding cell. People everywhere, laying on the floor, laying on the bench. Some people smelling like alcohol. some people smelling like piss. It just was disgusting. Like, and this is just in a holding cell in Inglewood.
Mm.
So the morning time came along, and luckily it wasn't a weekend. It was on a Tuesday. And then so we went to go see the judge Tuesday morning. Went to go see the judge. The judge was like, I told you I would see you again. You're in my courtroom. You said you were going to pay money. And I was just like, yeah, my
So
apologies.
how did you let that slip? It was just an oversight?
I just didn't give a shit.
Oh.
I just was like, whatever. And I didn't know the severity of this, how serious it was, building up. I was just like, well, it's only a couple $100, so I'll pay it when I get it. But it just kept going up and up and up and up and up. So it was basically driving on a suspended license twice, like a carpool lane ticket. It was just so much. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, oh, well. But it caught up to me, obviously. And so I was in Inglewood, and I went to go see the judge that morning. And it's like an all-day affair, dude. It's like you start at 8 o'clock. You don't see the judge until like 3 o'clock. It's just like sitting there doing nothing. You haven't ate. You ain't took a shower. You ain't did nothing. It's just like.
And are you shackled to your neighbor?
Not at that point, no.
Mm-hmm.
But, no, they did shackle us to transport us across the street. Because Inglewood is from one side of the street to the next to the courthouse. But it was just like we was in this little ass room. Like it's almost like the size of a janitor closet. And there's like 8 people in there waiting to see the judge. Mm-hmm. And so I went up before the judge. The judge kind of laughed, like, I told you I'd see you again. And I was like, yeah. And then he was like, so your original fine amount was like $646. And he was like, if you pay this, I'll let you go. And I was just like, okay, cool. And he was like, well, do you have money on the books or like money in your personal thing? I said, no, but I got money in the bank. And he was just like, well, how you going to go to the bank? You're arrested. You know what I'm saying? Like he was clowning me like, wow. Yeah, what are you going to do now? And I was just like, dang. So the dude next to me was like, ask for an OR. And I didn't know what he meant. I was like, what? Ask for an OR? He's like, yeah, ask for an OR. And the dude was like, hey, no talking. So he's trying to ask me to be released on my own recognizance where mm-hmm. I go get the money and come back. And I was just like, I said, well, can I make a phone call to a family member or whatever? And they was like, yeah. They said, but if the money's not in by 4:30, you get transferred to the county jail.
Wow.
So I'm like, all right, cool. I got time. I live 10 minutes from the damn.
What's the time? As you said, you got in there by 3, so you had like an hour and a half?
I had by the time we were finished, I had about 45 minutes.
Okay.
So I go back in. I call mom. I'm like, yo, this is what's going on. I got some money in the shoebox in the room. Blah, blah, blah. Bring it to the jail.
Not the shoebox money.
Yeah, the shoebox money. It's like, you got the stash, the old school stash. And so he told me, he said, as long as it's here by 4:30, you ain't going to make that county jail bus. So I'm like, all right, cool. So, everybody was in there chilling. They was encouraging like, yeah, man, your money will get here. You'll be straight. You ain't got to take that trip. And, they're like cheering for you. And they don't want you to go to the county. The inmates is on your side. Like, yeah, man, I hope your people make it and everything. So basically my mom got there at 4:35, 5 minutes late. And paid the fine, and I was already being shipped to the county jail.
Wow.
So that's where the real fun begins. Dude, when I tell you the process of getting checked into the county jail is a 15 to 20-hour process is no joke.
All right, we'll start on this bus ride. Now, I mean, let's just start at the bus ride. Okay.
So, they get us ready. They be like, okay, we're going to the county. They call your last name out. I see a couple of people that I know from a school that's, going on the bus ride or whatever. You kind of say what's up to them, but you really can't talk because they're pretty controlling with you speaking and doing all kind of shit or whatever. So they put us in shackles next to people that, just strangers or whatever. But you kind of get to know somebody real quick. It's just like, okay. It's me and him shackled together. So they put us on the bus. I'm riding through the neighborhood I grew up in. I'm seeing people in cars that I know. I'm just like, God
That
damn.
is sad,
Like,
yeah.
I'm going past Cinderella Park. Like, oh man, like the house is right there. Right. So, so this is about 5 o'clock, and it's in traffic. You know, it's LA traffic. So we get to the county jail about maybe 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. So they put us in the processing tank where it's about literally, man, it's a couple hundred people, and it's people like myself that had traffic warrants. There's murderers. There's people that are transitioning from penitentiaries to get back into society. Like, it's just all mixed in. It's just like a criminal is a criminal no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no separation. And it's just like, okay. So I get up to the window when they call my name, and they're asking me questions that I don't know what they're talking about. They're like, I knew the side of, they're like, okay, you from Inglewood? Are you, from any gang? And I was like, no. They was like, okay, what module do you want to go through? I'm like, what? I was like, what are y'all asking me? Like, Crip module, blood module? I'm like, they got their own areas, and it's all foreign to me. This is my first time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, no, I'm not affiliated with none of it. So they was like, okay, you go mainline. I was like, all right, whatever that is. And then we're getting processed in. So then you go back to the room.
Wait, does the process include a strip search or not on this level?
No, we haven't got there yet. You still got your regular clothes on.
Oh, okay. Still
in regular clothes. So then you sit in the room, and there's people in there disgusting. This one dude threw up in the corner. Got the shit beat out of him for throwing up in the corner because it stunk so bad. It was people in there drunk, man. It was just like, it was just like nothing. I don't want nobody to experience that. And so then they put everybody in groups, and you line up. So this time, probably 7 hours had passed already. So we're looking at probably like at 1 a.m. So then they stand everybody up. They give you a bag, and they tell you to take everything off. Like, so that's when you completely naked, just standing there naked, and they make you line up to each other, heel to toe, like so close that like somebody's ass is just like right there by your swipe. It's like you're uncomfortable, like what the fuck's going on, right? So they strip you down. You walk into this next room, and then they do like a scan of your chest, like a X-ray. And they take an X-ray to make sure. I don't know what the fuck the X-ray is for. Really, they said it was for whatever.
Hepatitis B or
I think that's what it was.
Okay.
And so you do that, and then they make you sit on a bench like that would be in a locker room, like a park bench. But then they have you straddle the bench and sitting close to each other, and you're fucking naked.
Oh my gosh.
So you're sitting like that, and then they make you get in the shower. You got to wash your hair. You got to wash everything. And then that's when they they check you or whatever. I didn't go through the lift the balls and the spread the ass cheek, none of that stuff. Then they give you your
How did you skip
clothes.
that? They had a express line or something?
No, they just didn't do it in the county. It was just
the county.
Yeah,
okay,
you took a shower and that was it. And then they throw you some clothes guessed upon your size, and luckily they gave me a size that fit because it was some people in there that just clothes didn't fit them.
Medium, huh?
Oh man, it was classic. So by this time we're like at 2:30 in the morning. The jail is overcrowded.
So are these the stereotypical jumpsuits like the
the blues, the county blues?
Okay, go ahead.
And
isn't those color coordinated? Like if people were crazy or
yeah. There was a couple of cats that got some like light green uniforms. I'm like, what the fuck is the light green? And they're like, oh, that's the 5150s. I'm like, oh, they're like, yeah, stay away from them. And I was like, oh, okay, so
no problem.
Yeah, I got it real quick. So the county jail is overpopulated. So it's so funny that like at this time I called myself being on a spiritual journey, going to church and trying to figure out everything. And the first night that I was in the county jail, because it was so crowded and they had a riot in 9500, we slept in the chapel, the church of the county jail.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of laughed at that, like, okay, I'm in a church, in jail, like, wow. So I literally laid down for like about 2 hours. And then we had to get up, get transported back to Inglewood Courthouse because that's where my tickets were out of. And I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, why am I going back to Inglewood? The judge already cleared this stuff up. And then so I got shackled. I actually got shackled next to a guy in my neighborhood that I grew up with, and he was a Latino dude.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about politics were so strong in the county jail that this dude would not even talk to me.
Damn.
Nothing, not anything. He just gave me a head nod, and that was it. I'm talking about I went to elementary, middle school, high school with this dude, and even spent the night at his house before.
Wow.
And it was just like...
Was he banging, or he just...
Yeah, he was banging. He was from I-13. He was from I-13. And I was just like, damn, this dude ain't even saying nothing. So I'm starting to see the politics unfold that everyone talks about. And you don't believe it until you experience it. So we go back to Inglewood. We get to Inglewood, and I go see the judge first, and he was like, well, you know, what are you doing back here? I was like, I don't know. They brought me back, and they said that I had something else pending. He was like, no, we don't have nothing else pending. So I took a ride from the county back to Inglewood for nothing. And I'm like, damn. So I'm like, okay, maybe I got action and getting released from here.
Did you put your civilian clothes back on, or you go there?
No, I'm still in county blues.
Damn.
So at this time,
do they give you flip flops or something with those clothes?
No, at this time you could keep your shoes, but you just couldn't have your shoe strings.
Okay. So
I was lucky enough to have a pair of Nikes that they had shoestrings, but it had like Velcro on the side. It was Dennis Rodman tennis shoe. It was a real popular tennis shoe at the time. Mm-hmm. So I had like some fly kicks in the county. I'm like, all right, cool. Like I at least I got some good shoes on, you know, like I'm good. So we're in Inglewood, and everybody's going to court, going to see the judge, and people are like trying to change the way they look. This one dude shaved his whole head, dude. He had long hair, like I'm talking about long hair, like down to half of his back. He shaved his whole head with a Bic razor, trying to change his identity because they were going to identify the dude in court. And I'm just sitting here tripping like, man, this dude's shaving his whole head right here in the sink with a single old school Bic razor. And I was like, man, these people are like, I was like, this shit is wild.
Mm-hmm. Did it work?
Yeah, it worked. And then they couldn't identify him. So I'm like,
he was onto something. That man's a genius.
I was like, this dude got this off. So then we leave Inglewood. We go back to the county. And by this time, I'm going into general population, which is 9,500. And they put us in line. It's about 25 people in line. And the deputy calls me to the front. He was like, hey, man, come to the front. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? He was like, turn around and look at everybody. So I turned around and looked at everybody in line. And it was, it was all Latinos and blacks in line. It was like, hey, you guys, the white boy is in charge.
Oh.
And I was like, what? And everybody started laughing like, oh, he got the white boy in charge. So the deputy tells me, yeah, if they don't stay in line and act in an orderly conduct, we're going to come back and we're going to kick your ass. We're going to fuck you up. And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Like, it's just all foreign shit to me. You know what I'm saying? You got to walk with your shoulder on the wall. You got to follow the yellow line. It was just like, so the deputy leaves. Everybody's laughing, joking. Oh, they going to fuck the white boy up. He can't keep us in check or whatever. So I'm thinking to myself, like, all right, I got to communicate with these dudes. And like, I'm like, yo, I said, y'all gonna let the fucking deputy run game on us like that? I know I can't keep everybody in check, but like, just be cool. Like, we in this shit together, and he trying to divide and conquer. You know what I'm saying? And the one dude was like, yeah, man, the Wood got a point. And I'm like, damn, they calling me Wood. How do you know I'm from Inglewood? But basically, they was calling me Peckerwood. So it was funny as hell. Like, I'm laughing about it. Like, this shit is nuts. So everybody basically was, cool, and they got in line and they was quiet. And then the deputy came back. He was like, damn, y'all gonna let the white boy put you in check? And I told him, So I told him, I said, man, it's not even about black or white at this point. It's about everybody just being cool and getting through this shit because everybody in here is really not criminals. He was like, no, everybody's a criminal in here no matter what. So I was just like, I was just kind of like whatever. So
don't the sheriffs have to do like a mandatory 2 years before they even go to the streets? Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was back then. I think it was like you had to do 2 years in the county before you even patrolled the street.
Okay.
And then that's when I saw how these dudes were fucking programmed and why they are the way they are on the streets like robots, because they have been dealing with some criminals, some civilians, some straight up killers or whatever, where it's just like they're in there for 8 hours a day dealing with this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of stuff could be avoided, but they keeping all the damn drama going. So everybody's in line. We walk in. And then we get to 9,500. It's just like a dorm, like a basketball gym, just full of bunks. I'm talking about hundreds of people.
Mm.
So I walk into there and I kind of, scan the room. And the sheriff is like, man, y'all got 30 seconds to find a bunk. Are we going to kick your ass? I'm like, damn, they going to whoop somebody's ass for everything in here. I'm tripping off this shit. Like, it's just, I'm like, man, this is too much. I'm like, it's like a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I walk into 9,500 and an old classmate happened to be in there and he yells across the whole dorm, oh, what's happening, Joey Blood? I was like, God damn.
Wow.
Everybody turns around and looks at me. The essays, the white boy, the Crips, the whatever, like all eyes were on me. I was like, damn, he called my name. I got to go talk to him. So I go over there and I speak to him like, oh, what's up, man? He was like, yeah, man, it's just like high school. Anybody fuck with you, I got you. I was like, oh, it's all good, all love. Gave him dap or whatever. The jailer was like, man, find a fucking bunk. So I threw my stuff on the bunk and just happened to be where the Latinos were. Latinos was like, yeah, Wood, get out of here. This is our area. We're going to fuck you up. I said, look, man. I said, the deputy's on my ass about getting a bunk. Just let him leave, and then I respect y'all space. I'll get out of here.
Yeah.
And they was like, okay. So then the deputy left. I moved. I found like a little area to the side where it was like pretty diverse because I didn't want to like necessarily like.
You didn't want to go hook up with your area brotherhood.
No. I wasn't doing that one. We're not having that. But they were there. There was a few there.
Did they signal like over here? Like
no, they kind of looked, and I just looked them off. But I think what did that was when I spoke to my classmates, so they was kind of like, "Oh, okay." So by this time, I'm tired, been through court and back and forth. So I'm like, "All right, fuck it, I'm comfortable enough to lay down." So I'm laying down. About an hour go by, and I just feel like this energy of like somebody looking at me. So I lean up, man. It's about 7 essays surrounding the bunk.
Shit.
I'm like, man, what the fuck's going on in my mind? So I lean up, and I'm not a little dude, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay. I lean up. I'm like, man, what's going on? And then the one dude was like, he had like some old ass sandals in his hand. He was like, hey, man, my homie wants your shoes.
Oh.
So I'm thinking to myself, and I go in survival mode. I'm like, all right, I can't fuck all of them up, but let me find out who really wants the shoes and how bad he really wants them.
Mm-hmm.
So I lean up. I'm like, well, which one wants them? And they was like, my homie right there. I said, all right. So I said, well, I'm going to hop down off this bunk, and if your homie want them, you got to take them. I'm holding my composure, but I'm scared. I'm nervous. I'm like, shit. But I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, the jailer is right there. If it goes down, I'm going to fuck one of them up.
That's right.
And then they're going to pack me out, but it ain't going to last that long. Like, I'm playing all this in my head. Like, this dude's going to be on the bottom and all this. So I lean up, do the whole thing. I'm like, well, yeah, tell me, which one of your homies wants the shoes. And they pointed them out, and I went to get down off the bed. They like, oh, no, it's cool. It's respect. The wood is down. You down, homie. It's cool. Mm. And then they just left. And I was like, okay. I was just like, that was cool. You know what I'm saying? So I laid down. I prayed about it. I'm like, God, come on, man, just get me out of this shit. Like, it's just.
And this is day 2?
This is really the first full day.
Damn.
The night before in the chapel was just like 3 hours. But the process of getting checked in was like 14 hours.
Wow.
So it's just like, it's crazy. Like the jailers, they're pushing you with their feet. They don't want to touch you. It's just, man, the shit's degrading, dude. They're calling you all kind of names and being disrespectful. Like they're challenging you to do something. They want you to do something. So that was in 9,500. And then, people are like waiting for their assignment of where they're going to be housed at. So after that happened, I was supposed to go to court again because I had a warrant in Torrance that I had forgot about. I had a ticket in Torrance. So the dude said, yeah, Torrance didn't send for you, so you lucked up or whatever. So I was like, all right, cool. So between people going to court and I didn't have to go, we got transferred to what they call a day room where it's only like 15 people. So this is, 15 people, double bunks or whatever. It's a toilet in there. So I get, I go in there and it's, they give you like some bullshit ass mattress, like a thin pad, a pillow and a blanket or whatever. So we get checked into the day room. It's about 15 guys. So we're in there, just sitting down, kind of talking. What you in here for? What's going on? Dude, I'm talking about big ass rats are running around.
Damn.
The smell is disgusting. Like, you can't even describe the way the place smells. It's not even like, it just smells like sewage.
And this is like the old county building?
Yeah, this is actually like a year before the Twin Towers opened. So it's in the old county building. So when they're laughing, kind of, having a good time or whatever, then it's time to go get lunch. And we in there or whatever, everybody's like, yo, man, everybody sneak a juice carton back so we can make some cards. So I'm like, all right, cool, So we go to get some food. We sit down about to eat. And at the time, I was like, man, I'm not eating this meat or whatever because I hear stories of them putting shit in the food and everything. Mm-hmm. So, the dude across from me, I was like, yeah, man, I'm not going to eat this chicken. So he like tried to kind of reach across and was going to, take my food. And I knew that was a no-no. Mm-hmm. I'm like, damn, dog, you better back your ass up. Like, what you doing? I kind of like jumped raw with him a little bit. And everybody looked over and he was like, oh yeah, man, my bad. I was like, yeah, basically you could trade me something. So I traded like the vegetables for the chicken or whatever. Mm-hmm. We ate our food. I think we had like 6 minutes to just fucking devour a whole plate of food.
Damn.
So we ate the food, ate the ice cream, had the juice and everything.
The ice cream?
Yeah, they had like some, you remember the little ice creams you used to have at the corner store with the
the little stick.
Spoon?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So like I was all excited about that, but man, it tastes like shit.
Damn.
It was like, it wasn't even real ice cream. I was just like, man, what is this stuff in here? It was just disgusting, dog. I was like, oh, man. So they was like, all right, we're going back to the room. So, I threw my juice carton under my armpit. We get back in the day room. They're like, hey, everybody get their juice carton. So I was like, yeah. So it was me, 2 other white dudes, and it was the rest was black dudes in the cell. So they was like, Wood, you got your carton? I said, yeah, I got mine. So I gave it to the dude. He's like, oh, good looking out. So it was 2 other white dudes that didn't get their cartons. They was like, where y'all cartons at? They was like, no, man, we didn't take them. We didn't want to get in trouble. And it was like, you don't want to get in trouble. Now you got to deal with us. So they literally,
oh man,
listen, man, they literally kicked these dudes' ass for not bringing back a juice carton.
Wow.
And I was just like, God damn. Like,
everything results in violence.
It's an ass whooping. I'm like, this shit is nuts. So I'm just thinking to myself, like, man, this shit is crazy. So they ended up taking a mattress from them. They took their pillows. They took their clothes because it fit somebody else better. I was like, man, this shit is a lot on it. So the whole time I'm calling to the house, letting the family know, everything's good, moms, everything's cool. But then I asked the jailer, I'm like, damn, man, like, what's the process of getting out of here? You know what I'm saying? I was like, my fines are paid. everything. And it was like, well, you had one thing in Torrance. You didn't go to court for that today. So they got to check and see if this other place is doing whatever. So, man, it ended up being 4 days of being in the county. So it was like I went in Monday night, so it was 4 days. So it got to Friday, and I'm like, God damn, it's Friday. I'm still here. Bullshit going on. So then finally they moved me to where there would be the like the exit process, which is another small room or whatever. So I'm sitting there just waiting or whatever. We playing cards out of the same, same cards and stuff we make. But what I noticed is the same people that got like checked in with us was in the same room to get checked out. It was just kind of like, I guess they had a system of checking in and checking out. I don't know what it was. But in the meantime, while we're waiting in the thing to get checked out, like this one dude was just like, he was just like staring at me. And I was just like, fuck, man, this dude keep looking at me. So I got like a little bit fed up. I'm like, damn, homie, what's up? Like, you know me? Is everything good? He was like, yeah, I know you. I was like, well, where you know me from? He was older too. So I'm like, well, where you know me from? He was like, yeah, man, didn't you go to Inglewood High? And I'm thinking to myself, and I said it with a smart remark. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm from Inglewood. So yeah, I went to Inglewood High. He was like, you don't remember me, huh? And I was like, nah. He was like, yeah, man, I came up to the school, and it was a story that I heard about a dude that was in my neighborhood that was a white dude that was a banger. And he was like, yeah, man, you had this white Cadillac on some Daytons or whatever. I'm like, damn, he talk about this dude's car I know.
Yeah.
So I'm letting him finish or whatever. And I started laughing. He was like, man, what's so funny? I said, man, what year are you talking about? He was like, yeah, man, it's like 86, 87. I said, man, I was in elementary school and the whole fucking jail cell falls out laughing. So now this dude is embarrassed. He's pissed at me. He's just like trying to like do anything to like pick a fight with me. So then this other dude that was a Crip from a neighborhood that didn't get along with him starts sweating him. Like, yeah, man, won't you leave the white boy alone? He ain't with the bullshit. He ain't bothering you. Fuck with me. So then them dudes end up having a fight. I'm like,
wow.
It's like, God damn. Like,
and this is an exit room.
This is the exit room. And I look out of all these fights, the fucking deputies didn't come in to break up. It was just like mercy on the person that was getting their ass whooped. Like any loud thing, oh yeah, I'll just cut it out, man. Knock that shit off. It was just like, man, that shit was just like TV doesn't show like what really goes on in there. It's fucking disgusting, dog. The food is horrible. It smells like sewage. There's no boundaries. There's nothing like, if you got to take a shit, you're taking the shit in front of the whole cell. And then luckily that we had people in there that put up like a little, they made like a little curtain out of a blanket. And the rule in there is like, once you dump, you flush, so it's not like a bad smell. And it was just, man, it was a hell of a time. It was just like, it was crazy as hell. I got to Saturday, and then I finally got out Saturday like that. It was Sunday. I got out Sunday because it was Super Bowl Sunday. I got out Sunday like at 6 o'clock in the morning. It was just like, man, how am I gonna get home? I don't got no money. It was a hell of a ride. I'll tell you that much.
Dude. And how long are people supposed to stay in there? Like, isn't it supposed to just be transition for court?
Yeah, but the thing was, it was so crowded, the process in and out took up to a week. That's how fucking crowded it was in there, man. It was people sleeping in chapel. It was people sleeping on the roof. And you feel like
the sheriffs condone the gang violence?
Definitely.
If not encourage.
Definitely. They got all this chaos going on. So the people that are in jail are basically policing themselves. Now they're just sitting back and watching and laughing like, look at these stupid motherfuckers. Like, it was crazy, man. It was, nobody could write this shit up for it to operate like that, the way they come up with this plan to make it work. It was just like, it was a trip, man. So on the way out, right? On the way out, you got to take off the county blues that they give you, the underwear, everything. You got to take everything off because it's property of Los Angeles County. So it was this one dude in front of me. He took everything off but the underwear and put the underwear, like kept the underwear on and put his clothes on. Dude, they rearrested him for trying to steal county property.
Wow.
For some busted ass underwear, like just because he didn't know. I was like, man, this shit is nuts. So I got out of there that Sunday. There's a whole row of payphones. You go and you make that collect call or somebody to come and get you. And it was just like, man, you got to call. Your folks got to come and get you. I mean, you really don't take a shit in there like for about 5 days because it's like the food is so disgusting. You're really not eating. You're stressed out. Like it's just, man, it was all bad. But I did learn that I'm not cut out for a life of crime.
So the lesson was learned.
The lesson was learned, but
all you needed was 6 days in the county. You got that figured out.
Changed my life. If I get a ticket, I'm going down to the court immediately, paying the ticket. I get there, they say, "Oh, our ticket's not processed yet." I ask them, "Can I leave the money until it gets there?" Like it's bananas, man. And the jailers are so fucking disrespectful, man. Like they want you to do something. They're totally like with the business and they want the fights. They want all of it.